All right, so I'm here with a friend of mine from well, he's Hungarian, but he's actually in Romania, and we know each other because we used to work together. His name is Elod Adam, and Elod, welcome. Thanks for joining. We haven't seen each other for a bit, so why don't you?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you just tell us real quickly? Like, I think you and I have known each other for more or less about 15 years, 12, 15 years, something like that, because we used to work for the same company.
Yeah, yeah,
But
about 15, yeah.
Yeah, you used to live in the U.S. So um, just tell us real quickly about who you are and where you're located and whatnot today, at least.
So today I'm in almost smack middle of Transylvania, the central part of Romania, where is a fairly big Hungarian enclave of around 1.5 million Hungarians live here, and so Hungarian-dominated counties. But yeah, it's based in the central of Romania, and that's where I live. Have a family with two daughters, and have my business. So
And we know each other because we've worked for the same company, work in the wine trade, and that's what you do today. So what's the company and what does it do?
So my company's name is Modus Vini, from Modus Operandi, and I import wine. So I started small, but right now I have quite a few really well-known names that I import exclusively to Romania. Mainly I tried 99% I work with the on-trade and try the higher end, more interesting wines, or wines that have a sense of place or they have something to say. So very much
Right.
at it.
Well, I know I see a lot of your social media posts when you're visiting Champagne and Barolo and places like that. So your portfolio has definitely got some of those landmark and key wine regions in them. I know that. So um, I don't know, any information you want to tell us about some of those wineries or how they sell in Romania or whatnot?
It's a lot of hand sell, especially champagne. It's a passion of mine. I did my third harvest there this year, and assemblage and everything. So that's I pretty much and I only work with small growers. So I try to find growers that are authentic and really make high quality champagne. So I have someone like Ryan Haas from Shui. Actually, that they are imported in the US by California-based importer, and then Bruno Michel, which is a bio champagne. Then GL Vernon, which is imported by New York importer. I can't think of the name, but anyways, it's a fine importer.
Yeah.
So small houses, and a lot of it's hand sell because Romania is still very much brand driven country. So Moet, Wolf Clicquot, Dom Perignon, Cristal, these are the wines that people recognize. It's still they don't drink it as much for pleasure as much as other people to see it what they drink type of thing. So but I have found over the
Romanians
years.
aren't much different than Americans.
But with a little bit of hard work now, I'm known in Romania as a grower champagne importer. But besides that, I import Van Volksem from the Mosel, Gede Voira from Piemonte, some other interesting producers. So yeah.
That sounds great. I know some of those producers and they're fantastic wines. So listen, you and I kind of checked in with you last week and just to kind of see how you were doing. Hadn't talked in a while, and our conversation kind of got over, of course, to what everybody's talking about, which is what's going on in Ukraine and circumstance. And because you're so close, I kind of thought might be worth just to check in to see what the status was. And you kind of had mentioned that your company and your city and town were in efforts to kind of help with the massive refugee kind of crisis that's happening with so many people being disrupted in their lives in Ukraine and moving westward into Europe. And you had mentioned that there's basically an all hands on effort with folks in your area. Maybe just tell us a little bit about what you're seeing and what folks in and around your area are doing to help.
So yes, as you said, it's all hands on deck. And People very interestingly, they are scared because, you know, we're very, very close to Ukraine, close to Russia by that, and everybody is afraid if this conflict is going to escalate, where we're going to stand. But in the other hand, we cannot step and not help these people in really, really dire needs, because it's in the middle of winter and they're just get on the road with a suitcase and two kids on their hand, and a mother's trying to escape this horrible situation. So local bus company brought out buses, and with buses brought down people. Local grocery store chain helps with food. I mean, it's just my hair's getting up just thinking of these situations. Our town, I live in about a 50,000 people town, and 100 apartments they allocated for these refugees to be able to not just apartments, motels, hotels, whatever, but the town is renting it from the owners to help these refugees. Right. But we're, let's say, fairly close, because in the center of Romania, it takes about 4 or 5 hours to get up to the border. But people coming from the other end of Romania with their own cars and picking up people, bringing the people to their cities and trying to help them as much as they can. So it's as you said, it's all hands on deck, and nobody's asking who you are, why you are here. Let me help you. And actually, there's quite a few stories that sometimes hit the news. Sometimes my friends tell me that people go across the border into Ukraine to pick up these people because they are literally on the road walking. Right. So you see situations where the father kisses the wife and the kids, and he cannot leave the country, and they on the road trying to find food and help. Or there was this really terrible story. I don't know if it went to the US, where an 11-year-old kid went across the Poland border with a phone number on his hand and his name, because his mother brought him to the border, but he had to go back to take care of the rest of the family. So it's heartbreaking. It's shocking me and it upsets me that 21st century we live and these type of things can happen. I don't know.
It's absolutely insane, and you're absolutely not alone, because I can tell you that the rest of the world is shocked. And just looking at some of these things, like the UN vote the other day, where Russia got support from 4 other nations, which, if you look at those list of nations, are not really the places you want to live or be a part of. So it's horrific, and we see the reports on the news and online and whatnot, but you can't imagine what it's like. Even as close as you are, I can't imagine seeing these people coming across the border and having to figure out their lives, because they're just, there's no place to go back to in a lot of these situations, and it's just horrendous. And yeah, it's mostly mothers and women and their kids who have to walk across the border, and the dads who have to turn around and go back. And I can't imagine, you're a dad, I'm a dad, having to send my family off like that. It's got to be, it's got to be the hardest thing these guys are doing.
And it's really crazy talking to my friends, and actually talking to my wife, that we are thinking to have something in place if they invade us. How fast, how far can we get?
Right.
I mean, these are the thoughts in our heads. It's not, I'm studying for my MW, but right now it's not in my mind. Like, what can I do for my kids? I mean, it's a 5 and a 3.5-year-old. It's how fast can I get them in a car with my wife? What can we take, and how far can we go? Right. So yeah, and so I'm not alone. A lot of folks think the same way. So how can I save my family?
Yeah, no, I listen. I got the benefit of having an ocean and a continent in between it, and we're still worried about things, and because it's so unpredictable. And you've got a guy who has really got no fear of doing whatever he wants to do. And so, we're all in the same boat. I mean, I'm not there and that close as you are, and my kids are older, but I can't imagine what it must feel like to have to live with that kind of fear. And yeah, definitely the planning is something that even we're thinking of, and what are we going to do in case of whatever. It's horrendous. So you just mentioned you're an MW candidate. You and I have that in common a little bit, although I'm not currently an MW candidate. but you had mentioned that you actually had an associate who is also another MW candidate who was in Kyiv, and yeah, I don't know if you've heard from him or if you have any updates on how he's doing.
Yeah, so he's still in Kiev. I heard from him 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that. His name is Vitaly. I'm not going to tell him his family name because
Sure. Yeah.
for whatever reasons. But yeah, he's a really well-known sommelier, works for a restaurant group. He's the wine director and MW candidate, a very kind, generous guy. And now it's the fourth day he's living in the basement with scarce food and some water and nothing else, and they hear the shelling every day because he's living just the outskirts of Kyiv. So it's pretty scary, and he said he wants to stay because he doesn't want to give in to this monster who the Russian president is. And but it's yeah, he's uneasy.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. You know, I'm sure if he's of an age also, he's probably not allowed to leave. So that's part of the situation, again, because of the you know, the Ukrainian government's sort of mandate, I think, for all the men to be available for defense. So okay, so I guess, you know, here in America we are limited in what we can do. You know, we have our government hopefully working as hard as they can. It looks like they are to unite and to foster, you know, whatever we can do to kind of help out. But you had mentioned that there's a couple, and I'll post these down below, some links down below for anybody who's curious. But you had mentioned a couple things, and especially one person in particular who already has an event that he kind of handles on an annual basis, I think that you said. But one of the small populations in Ukraine that's really being disrupted is obviously children, especially, I think, but people who have mental and physical disabilities and are unable to really travel and move easily. So you have a friend. You're going to have to help me with the pronunciation. I can get the Zoltán part, but
Szövérdfi.
Okay.
Szövérdfi, that's his name. And I mean,
just tell
I have
us what this guy does.
I'm sorry.
Just tell us about the event and what this job does.
We started this event a couple of years before I moved back home. So probably 2014 or 2015 was the first event. This really was frustrated the way these people with disabilities, the way they are treated and the way they are handled by the state, by other people. So he started this organization, Ceva de Spus, that means, translated, something to say. And also started this wine show called Robin Hood, instead of the B, the V from wine. And it's a fairly major wine show. Usually there's a couple of MWs, MSs invited. Everybody comes for pro bono. The wineries come for pro bono. Everything's pro bono to help him with this goal to make lives of people with disabilities a little bit more bearable. So first year when he organized this, Justice Robinson came pro bono, and she promoted in the Financial Times and everywhere this event, and how amazing Zoltán is, and a bunch of other people in the wine world got together and tried to help him, because what he does is really amazing, and he shows the result and everything, and how the money is spent. And every time when you participate to this event, you get a spreadsheet of this is how much money came in, this is how we spend it, these are the people who we helped, and so on and so forth. And right now, he's the first thing in his mind was, yes, Ukraine, it's a terrible situation. People are fleeing. We're trying to help them, but how about the people with disabilities? How can we? Who's helping them? And turns out there's not too many news about someone's helping them. So actually, he's gonna go travel to Ukraine next couple of days to try to get together some. He's going to some church groups and some people to try to find out how can he or us from here to help and assist, because yes, we can, you may be able to collect money or maybe able to collect some goods for them, but the best thing would be how can we bring them out of Kiev, from all the major cities where they are living in basement with no health or cleaning supplies and all the other stuff. So yeah, it's when you really start thinking about it, it's a massively
It's a
scary
complete,
and
yeah, just a complete disruption of the entire society all the way through.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and you know, yeah, like we said before, it gets your hair going, and it's just so frustrated and horrible. So I'm going to post all of this. I'll put the links to his organization as well as the other ones that you mentioned, and we'll hope for the best, and hopefully this can get out to some folks, and we'll see if we can help with a little bit of contributions and whatnot for whatever we can. So listen, I can kind of sense the stress in your voice with your family. I know it's evening there, and you're probably looking to kind of get on with things a little bit, but I really appreciate you checking in and giving me some time today to kind of talk about some of these things, because it's sometimes hard to get accurate information about what's going on so far away. And we kind of see the news here, and we hope that it's not as filtered as it probably is, but I'm sure it's a little bit different.
Closingly, I would tell you that what really warms my heart, that regardless of your political or any kind of views, right now everybody from anywhere that I see is trying to help the best way they can, but literally everybody's helping and trying to help, because today them, next day who knows who, and let's try to help them as much as we can, because I mean,
it's all of us at some point.
2 weeks ago they were watching TV and having a Zoom conversation, and today they're on the road trying to run for their lives. I mean, it's unfathomable to me. So yeah, trying to do whatever they can.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I can't even get into describing how awful it is, and like I said, I'm so fortunate in that I'm a ocean and half a world away, and don't have to deal with that on a daily basis. But it's it is here, and we will do what we can. So again, I appreciate your time. I hope you and your family stay safe, and these other folks we talked about, good luck to them, and hopefully they can manage to get through this whole mess, because there's going to be a lot of rebuilding that needs to be done in a very short period of time, hopefully. And it's just crazy. So all right, I appreciate your time. I'm gonna salute you and let you get on with your evening.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Thanks.